What's up, everyone? I'm Tim, and this is my channel, 40 Times Around, where we talk about everything related to motorcycles, camping, travel, and adventure. And today we're going to talk about 5 things you should always have with you on a long motorcycle trip. Stick around. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to be talking about 5 things you should always have with you on a long motorcycle trip. And these really apply to short trips as well. And we're not going to talk about the obvious stuff. We're not going to go over things that are common sense. Obviously you need money, you need your debit card, your credit card, you need your insurance card, all of your legal documents depending on where you're traveling, registration, things like that. You're going to need keys for your motorcycle, and you're going to need fuel in your tank and air in your tires. We're not going to talk about that stuff. We're going to talk about 5 things you might not be thinking of that are arguably equally as important as those things I just listed. And so the first thing that I always have with me on any motorcycle trip, even if it's just a short trip, even if it's just a day trip, I always have one extra layer. No matter what I think is the most amount of clothing I could possibly need for the weather I'm facing, and if it's a really long trip and I have everything for the worst case scenario as far as cold weather goes, I always leave one item of gear or clothing in reserve, so that no matter how cold it gets, when it gets to that point where it's unbearable, you always have one more thing to put on. But in reality, I almost never actually put that one last piece on, because it's almost a mental thing. Just knowing, like, okay, I'll just wait till it gets so unbearable I can't take it anymore, and then I'll put that extra piece of gear on. But you do always have it if it gets to the point where it's that cold anyway. So the second thing, now, rain gear is obvious. If you're on a long motorcycle trip, you should definitely have rain gear with you, no matter what. If you don't, it's only a matter of time you're going to learn that one the hard way, if you haven't already. One second. Okay. So rain gear is obvious, but what about bringing an extra pair of gloves so that when those one main pair of gloves get wet, you have something else to put on if it rains, or if they get destroyed or anything like that. Now, leather gloves like these, they don't fare well when they get wet, dried out, wet, dried out. And so it's better to just have an extra pair of gloves with you. I think they're equally as important. If you're carrying rain gear, you should also have an extra pair of gloves for that situation. So the third item on the list is going to be a spare key. Now, you want to hide a spare key somewhere on your bike, especially if you're really far from home, and losing a key would mean calling a tow truck. Now, I have mine in my toolkit inside my side case, and my side case is always locked. Pro tip here, you want to make sure that your keys for your side case are not attached to your motorcycle key if that's locked away. Keep those keys somewhere separate, so when you lose your bike key, you still have access to the extra one that's in your side case. Now, my bike actually has a key fob, and that has a battery in it. In the same spot, I actually have extra batteries for the key fob in case that goes dead. Actually, I just got a warning on my bike recently that literally just before I turned on the cameras, it told me my key fob the battery was going low, so I'm probably gonna have to change that when I stop here. But it's definitely a good idea. Have an extra key. You never know. It's one of those things that's so easy to lose, and it'll leave you stranded, and depending on where you're at, that could be a really bad situation. If you're somewhere where there is no service, or you're in the middle of the desert and it's 120 degrees, and maybe you don't have enough water to be stranded. So it's important. Keep an extra key somewhere on the bike. You should just pretty much, wherever you put it, wherever you hide it, just leave it there so you always know it's there. And the fourth item you should always have with you is some type of strap, bungee cord, even a cargo net. I prefer to have straps with me though, because they're good for a lot more than just luggage, strapping luggage to the bike. But any of those things can work. Now, number one, if you're on a motorcycle, you never know when something new is going to show up that you don't have space for in your side cases or whatever the case may be. You always have the option to attach something to your motorcycle. That's the first part of it. But why I like to carry straps is that if something breaks on your bike, or your side case comes loose, maybe you dropped your bike, you have the option to use that strap to tie the side case to the bike. So there's a lot of uses for this, but I'm telling you, I can't even count how many times I've needed to tie something extra to the bike, and it's been great that I had something there to tie it to the bike with, basically. And the fifth and final item is, so a tire repair kit, a tire pressure gauge, those things are obvious, but something less obvious, I think, is carrying a roadside assistance card. That could be, AMA, American Motorcycle Association, or AAA, whatever it is in your local country that will get you a tow truck if you happen to get stuck. We actually ran out of road here. Anyways, a roadside assistance is going to be a huge help if you are stranded on the side of the road somewhere. You'd be surprised how handy that can be. So, roadside assistance, definitely worth carrying, depending on what country you're in and what your local version of AAA is. It's going to be a total lifesaver if you find yourself in that situation where, having to drop a couple $100 on a tow truck could derail your whole trip. So, anyways, those are the 5 things I think you should always make sure to have with you on a long motorcycle trip, even a short one too, like I said. And that's about it. I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys want to see more videos about motorcycles, camping, travel, and adventure. And don't forget to hit that little bell. That way you guys don't miss anything whenever I post something new. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.